It is the homemade broadcast. It is episode 576. My name's Will Kuncz. This here is Anna Hummel.
Hello. Sorry
Kevin,
for the.
we're here. Sorry, Anna. The
No,
Kevin
you're okay.
in the comments. He's 3 minutes late. What's the deal? Sorry. Golly.
Bro, you weren't going to be able to see my beautiful face.
Yeah, what's going on with you got a little bees or something in your home? What's going on back
I
there?
have a little bit of an infestation. Sorry. The
That's okay.
engineer isn't here today, so we're kind of at half cast, I guess. I got a few issues where I can hear you in my headphones, can't hear myself.
Okay.
So I'm going to just do like you in this ear and then me in this ear. So.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, that will let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yep.
distracting. But no, we'll get through it. Welcome, everybody. Sorry we're 3 minutes late. Technical difficulties. And yeah, I'm up in the sky here. I flew down to Little St. James Island. Jeffrey Epstein's palace back here. I don't know if you can see it. There we go.
I can. Yeah, it looks great.
Exotic location this week. I figured, Donald Trump had a lot going on this week, so I didn't want to bug him and ask him if I could do the podcast in the Oval Office. And so I just went down. He goes, why don't you go down to Little St. James? And I said, you know what? That's a great idea. And that's where I am this week. So we'll have some news about that. There was a lot of news about
There was and also wasn't a lot of news, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. You're right. But first, we'll do that probably in the bonus time, maybe the after the half an hour that Radio St. It's, by the way, go subscribe, hmbradio.substack.com. There's a free subscription there. You get the podcast early. That's always fun. And that way you don't have to wait till Sunday if you missed it live. And you get the whole audio-only podcast, which is uncensored, mostly. And you can get that. It's $5 a month. We try to keep it cheap. And it's fun. So go do that. hmbradio.substack.com. I can hear myself now, Anna, in your headphones.
You can't?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry. It's super distracting. That's the only reason.
No, it's all good. I'm gonna pull a Jim Norton and just do one of these guys.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, I'm sorry about that, but
it's all good. I apologize for the technical difficulties.
So, what did you do for 4th of July?
Oh, it was a splendid evening. Spent some time with my in-laws. Like, technically not my in-laws, but I just refer to them as my in-laws.
Right.
Real uncomfy.
Really? Why?
Real uncomfy. Let's just say it made me grateful for my relationship. You know, you ever in the presence of a couple?
Yeah,
it's uncomfy.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Was it people who were just like fighting in front of you?
Yes, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of, so I do quite a bit of research when it comes to relationships, self-development. It's very much the female part of me. Not that men can't improve themselves, but by and large, it seems like women are constantly on the hunt of like how to frame things differently, how to read this sign, whatever, trying to improve yourself. And along the way, you run into a lot of relationship stuff, right? So there's this psychology couple. They're both like doctors. And they've done like 50 years of research. It's like the gold standard when it comes to relationships. They actually could tell with like 80 or 90% accuracy. They could watch a couple, no sound, and just like read their body language, and they could tell with like 80 or 90% accuracy if they'd get divorced in the next 3 years. Just by the way that they interacted, their body language. So anyways, I'm well versed in what not to do. And there was just a lot of that. A lot of contempt, a lot of nagging, a lot of not helping. So, and then one of them tried to drag me into it. The wife tried to drag me into it. And I just shut that down quick. She's like, well, Anna was here. She saw. I go, nope. no, I'm in both y'all's house. Like, do not drag me into anything. Okay, thank you. So it was just really uncomfortable. And every time someone said something, I'm like, wrong. You know, she would nag him, and he was trying really hard to like grill for the rest of us. And she'd be like, you know, so-and-so, come here. And I'm like, nope, he just sat down. He doesn't want to come here across the room. Nope. And then he would tell her to like, shut up. I'm like, nope, you don't do that in front of company. Like, everything was just wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super uncomfortable. I remember, and these are like older folks, right? These are your in-laws.
They're my age.
Oh, your age. Oh, so it wasn't your in-laws, quote unquote, that were fighting. It was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like, boyfriend's brother and wife.
I see. Okay. All right.
So, and I felt like Chris and I were just like, wow, grateful for you, because this sucks.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's unfortunate. That makes everybody else that's a spectator there uncomfortable too. I remember many years ago, I was in my 20s at this time. I made friends with this dude at a bar. His name was Jeff. And I just broken up with a girlfriend. So I was at Goose's Sports Bar in Largo drinking by myself. I was probably like 25 years old. And this dude is there. And, you know, sometimes men, when they're at the bar, you got a beer, you're just kind of looking around, you make eye contact with somebody, you just start chatting. So
sure.
This guy, we just start chatting. Really cool guy. He ends up, I tell him what happened. You know, he's my shoulder to cry on that day.
Oh,
and
no. Okay.
He took me to Oz. I remember the strip club. He had a limo for some reason. I thought he was in the mob, but I think he's a postman, I believe.
Same.
Yeah, pretty much same thing. But I remember I like hung out with him for a long time after that, like a year or two after that time. He was like my friend, but he was probably in his 50s, I would say, at that time. And he brought his lady one time, off and on person that's been in his life for many years, off and on. So they got back together, and he's like, you know, let's all go out and hang out. Total S show right from the get-go, just bickering, fighting in front of everybody. And, you know, we're out like trying to have a good time. We're going to bars, bar hopping. It's a Friday night.
Yeah, that'll kill the mood.
Very uncomfortable. So you don't want to do it just for your guests, but I guess it's impossible once you're at that point in a relationship where you just hate each other.
Yeah, and so in true Hummel fashion, well, I should just say Anna. It's not my family. The rest of my family's not like this, just me. But I needed more intel. So as the men and the boys, meaning like the men and literally the nephews, were outside blowing stuff up, there's the ladies in the living room chatting, which is apparently what she was getting yelled for. I'm like, I understand she's not helping, but she's also not bugging you when she's talking to me, because she's a bit of a nagger. And I mean nagger. She's a bit of a nagger.
I got you.
So, no, you're good. N-A, yeah. So by talking to me, she wasn't nagging her husband. So I thought I was doing everyone a favor, but I was apparently distracting her from her duties, which apparently she didn't know she had. So it was just bad all around, right? So the boys are blowing stuff up in the front yard, and I go, this would be a great opportunity to find out more. So I go, hey, you know, so-and-so, I know today's a little hectic because it's the 4th and it's a holiday and stuff, but I'm like, how are things going with, you know, hubby, essentially? And she just goes, things are good. You know, I feel like she was trying to convince herself things were good. She's like, things are a lot better when the boys aren't around, meaning her stepsons. So when they're at their mom's house out of her hair, she's like, we get along much better. It's much easier. I'm like, okay, I get that. But that's 50% of your life. The boys are here. So, you know, so she was just trying to pitch it as like, yeah, most of the time things are good. And it was just like, today's a bad day and the boys are here. But I don't believe that for 1 second, because it's always like that.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, the good news is it might be your last holiday that you have to spend with them together. It sounds like it's on the way out.
Dude, can I just give everyone some marriage advice from someone who is not a therapist or married?
Sure. Yeah.
Don't get fat.
Oh, is that what happened?
Especially the woman.
Yeah. Yeah. It is good advice. It's really hard though. I mean, once it's most people's natural
inclination.
Yeah. I mean, especially in this country.
I don't care.
I know. No, you're right.
I don't care. And listen, I got that lesson probably a little too young from both parents, independently of each other. Yeah. I have a vivid memory, maybe around 8 or 9 years old. I remember my dad was like pulling out of a parking space and he's like, Anna, let me tell you something. He's like, if you get married, don't get fat. He goes straight up. Papa Hummel goes, if your mom got fat, I would leave her.
Damn.
Like not, and again, he didn't even leave the caveat of like, if she was going through something, if she got pregnant again. It was none of that. It was just like, if she gets fat, I'm gone. And then my mom told me the same thing, but she didn't even say it from the male perspective. Or like in terms of like, don't let your husband, make sure she goes, as like a woman, don't get fat.
Yeah.
So it was both sides of like, the woman shouldn't get fat. And then the woman in my life was also telling me, do not let yourself go.
Yeah. Right.
Which may have made a few, crossed a few wires and gave me, a baby eating disorder. No problem. Who hasn't had one? But yeah, it was a lesson I learned very, very young. But it was an important lesson to essentially what they're saying is like, stay the person that they ended up falling for or becoming attracted to in the first place. Because
listen, it's hard though, especially as you age. You start getting older. You look at your parents, and
my parents are amazing shape.
You're a genetic freak, but like I look at my parents.
I'm not. Okay, go ahead.
It's their natural. It's a natural setting.
Okay.
And it change, with age. I'm just saying it's harder as you get older.
Of course, it's harder. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. But also, you have to understand, like, I come from a pretty athletic family. Mom was, like, a phenomenal swimmer. She ran track. She did dance. Dad played rugby, soccer, track. Like, my parents were pretty active. So
let me ask you a question. What's fat to you? Like, are we talking, how much weight would you have to gain for somebody to be like, wow, you're fat now? As opposed to packing on a few pounds, chunky, chubby, is chubby fat in a marriage?
Well, let me say this. It depends where we start. Where did we start? Were you chubby when you got together? If you were chubby when you got together and you're just staying chubby, that's fine.
Let's say no.
Let's say no.
Let's go up to, in shape to, you can lose a few pounds, a little chubby, got a little bit of a belly.
Okay, and let's just, for sake of keeping things consistent, like, let's not involve pregnancy, right? Pregnancy comes and goes, whatever. Okay. Let's say no one gets pregnant. Let's just keep it simple. As a woman, obviously depends on your size. 30 pounds is going to look a lot different on me than it would on some chick that's 6'1". So I would say, generally speaking, again, I would say you probably want to stay within about 20, 25, 30 pounds of where you started.
Okay. That's
as fair. A female, like, the guy meets you at 140, you're 5'7". Try not to get over 170. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay.
I think that's reasonable. I'm not saying like, oh my God, you need to lose 10 pounds. No.
Yeah.
I'm talking the couple that I went to, 60, 70 pounds. The lady they put on.
Yeah, how tall?
Maybe 5'4", 5'5"
Ooh,
tops.
70 pounds on 5.
I'm not kidding, bro.
Dude, that's
I'm not kidding. And she actually sent me a picture of her when she was like 21, and I was completely blown away. Like, it made me so sad. Of course, we all look different from 21. I look very different 21. My face, I'm older. You know, I got wrinkles and stuff. My skin isn't quite as tight, but my actual body size, my mass is within 10 pounds, 15 tops. And I was like really super skinny there because I was like borderline an eating disorder. So, you know, I was probably on the too thin side then. Yeah, we're talking chins and chins away from where we were at 21.
All right. So what and why? Like, why did this happen? I mean, I know why it happened, but what was the rationale, or was there any?
I mean, I don't ask her really. I think a lot of it is, sorry?
You should ask.
I don't want to ask, why did you get fat?
Ask, what sparked the weight gain? When she showed you the picture, you know, you're like, hey.
Yeah, that's not a question I'm pretty smart. I can't think of a way to ask that question nicely if they don't bring it up.
Yeah.
If they want to talk about it, I'll ask. But if they're just like, hey, check out, it was more like, hey, check out this guy I used to bang. And she was in the picture. And I was like, oh my God, like, you are hot. Mm-hmm. Hot. Like, sexy hot, and blown away.
Did she have children?
No. None of her own.
Dang.
She has the body type of a middle-aged Midwestern mom that likes eating mayonnaise and cheese curds. Mm-hmm. She looks like a melted Roman candle. It's not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. That's unfortunate. Well, like I said, the good news is she might be out of your life. It sounds like pretty soon. So.
I don't mind her. She's.
No, I'm not saying it has anything to do with you. I'm just saying it sounds like that their time together will end soon.
Yeah, it's sad because they just got married last year.
So when did she gain all the weight? 1 year?
No. She was big then too.
Okay.
Yeah. So
married a big gal then.
And then I was told stories that like she didn't look like that when they first met, which wasn't that long ago. So I wanted to see pictures, and in the house there are, you know, artifacts of what this woman looked like even just a few short years ago, and she was like thick cute. You know what I mean? Like thick cute.
Right. It's my bread and butter.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe like a little too much thick cute, but like maybe 3 C's instead of 2, but still like thick cute. And then I think it's also like she kind of let her hair go gray. It just looks, everything is just not good. And I just want to do like a full makeover. And in her mind, I think she thinks she's still hot.
Ooh, interesting.
She is like not at all shy about being in a bathing suit. Like, she talks about herself like she's still.
Well, there's the trend, the, you know, body positivity trend. She's probably just hopped on that bandwagon. There's lots of pigs on Instagram that are wearing bikinis. I don't think you should be ashamed of it either. If you want to wear a bikini, wear a bikini. It is annoying. Your confidence is a little annoying though, because you're a mess.
And it's not just the body is one thing. It's just, it's in my mind, I'm like, you have one vessel. Mm-hmm. Like, of anything else you want to accomplish or do, like, that should be pretty close to the top of the list of things. And again, people think like, oh, not everyone can have a 6-pack on it. I used to hear that all the time when I was on Bubba's show, and it was so annoying. I'm like, I'm not asking that. I don't even have a 6-pack right now. Well, depends on the day, but I am just saying, like, maybe you shouldn't have arthritis at 39.
Yeah.
Maybe you should just like And then I look at what they're eating because I'm in the kitchen, and I'm like, this is all terrible. This is horrific.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just not good. And then they complain of like lots of issues. I'm like, this is because your lifestyle sucks. Right. Everything is bad.
So did that just ruin your 4th of July then?
No, I quite enjoyed it. I kind of, even though it's uncomfy and like tense, it's like fun to talk about when you leave. I mean, when Chris and I left, it was like, tea time. You know what I mean? Right. So I was really trying to get some intel. She didn't really give much to work with, but I don't know. I feel like they're both the type of people just to like stick it out because they don't want to look for anything else. Does that make sense? You're just like, I'm tired. We've said this before, but like, I don't want to go find someone new. Because what we have is good. Yeah. But if things went south, like we wouldn't want to start again. Like,
yeah, no, I understand. So you did. There is a picture up on the YouTube community post and Facebook, HMBradio on Facebook, of you and I in our respective fireworks. There's yours looked like you were a little afraid in yours. You almost set the house on fire, or what happened?
Well, I eventually migrated outside and started shooting things off with the boys or witnessing them. And I had like some sort of like, it looked like a glowy sword, and you light it and it like sparklers, I guess, but it went like pop, 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 pop. It wasn't just like a steady burn. It was like a sparkler, but it was like a sword, like we were supposed to be sword fighting. And so one of the young boys was just getting a little too close for my liking with the sword. And you can just see the remnants of the sword, sparklers all up in my grill. So I was scared, as you can see from my face.
Yeah, you look a little afraid there. I don't know if I can zoom in, can I? Yeah, I can. There we go. Yeah, you look a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, the theme of the night.
The only firework I had was one sparkler.
Oh yeah,
see it in my hand.
A good pick. There.
Yeah, that's when the freedom hits. Coors Lights and freedom, baby. That's what my 4th of July was pretty good. I had. I don't know, my friends, I went over to a friend's house. I'm sad that they're leaving. They're moving to the great state of New York.
Jersey. I thought you said.
Yeah, Jersey. But I think people who live in Jersey City would just say that they live in New York City, right across the river.
Yeah, it's close.
But it is technically New Jersey. Boy, I will miss them, but I'm so glad that they're taking their votes elsewhere. Because
why?
It was kind of, I had this kind of not weird, but I poured some Fireball when I got there. There was only a few, a total of 6, 7, 8, I think total, and gave a toast to my friends who were going to be taking off to the great state of New Jersey. And I started off, since it was America, I said, first, let me give a toast to the best country in the entire world. Audible groans from that.
May I ask a question? Follow-up question. What about your lady?
I would say no reaction. I didn't hear her groan, but I didn't hear her go woo either.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was
a Switzerland, if you will.
Yes.
Okay.
Very much. So at that point, I go, and to our number one best friends who were, and then, so kind of pulled it out of it. A little disheartening, though, that, I get the political climate we're in now, but it was kind of upsetting that you just can't be like, all right, for one little moment, you just can't be like, cool. You have to audibly groan when the country that you live in is mentioned on its Independence Day.
It's not even the country that you live in. It's your identity. Like, you are American, whether you like it or not. You are culturally American. Your citizenship reads American. And like, I don't think people understand like how incredible it is to have a ticket that you can always live in this country as an American citizen. People are fighting for their life waiting on lists or crossing a 1,000-mile stretch of land in a caravan barefoot to get into this country.
Yeah.
And you were lucky enough to be born here or have citizenship here. So shut up.
Shut up. Yeah, I don't know why it bugged me.
Of course you know why, but because of what I just outlined, just being so unbelievably, it's like ungrateful and willfully ignorant when you think about how so much of the rest of the world has to live. Oh, you're a woman that can drive and you can read? Wow. There's a lot of places where you can't do that without getting stoned to death.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I guess, maybe when I think more about it, it would be something like that. I think it was more just superficial. Like, okay, I'm just giving a toast here on...
it's like a personal thing.
Yeah, more of a personal thing for me. Like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Yes. And just shut your mouth. It's Independence Day. It's July 4th. We're having a good time. We don't need to get political today. But... we did. And so, no, I didn't shoot off any fireworks at all. Came home really early. Didn't really drink. I haven't really drank since I got back from Colorado.
Oh, yeah. You are still ill. I was going to come over to your house, but you informed me yesterday that you're just still not better after 6 months of illness.
I still got this cough going on. I don't know what's up with that. But, no, I don't know if that's why. I just haven't really had the urge to tie one on. I don't think I drank that's not true. I had one pour of whiskey the entire weekend.
Wow. Was it like an entire bottle?
No, it was just a little, a little Aaron pour, one.
Dude, that's great. Listen, if your illness keeps you on the straight and narrow, stay sick.
Yeah. Of course, many people were playing with fireworks and many people blew their hands off and other things. Several Hillsborough residents, including a 10-year-old, suffered devastating firework injuries. There's from WFLA.
It's Friday, and it is important to celebrate responsibly.
Absolutely. Every year, fireworks lead to injuries and fires. 8 on your side's Alessandro Young joining us now live in Hillsborough County to share some safety tips that you should keep in mind. Good morning.
Never mind. I thought that was the story. Among those, a 10-year-old boy who firefighters said had to be rushed to surgery after shrapnel from a PVC launch tube pierced his chest. Does your man ever do those, the PVC launch tubes?
I believe so. I'll explain more after you go through the story, but
yeah. Okay. 2 people also suffered hand injuries that resulted in partial or full amputations, and multiple other patients wound up with significant damage to their eardrums from firework use, authorities said. At least 3 people were taken to Tampa General Hospital as trauma alerts or patients that require immediate medical attention. First responders weren't just dealing with people being injured by fireworks. The explosives also caused a number of fires, setting a moving truck ablaze and resulting to major damage to a neighborhood clubhouse. In another instance, improperly discarded fireworks lit a carpet on fire, which eventually spread to the whole house. Discarded fireworks also burnt up an apartment door entryway, the bed of a truck, and a garage. Authorities said all these situations were preventable tragedies. Of course. I will say I'm surprised so many fires. We got a lot of rain, but I guess it was like buildings and stuff, not really, outside. That was people setting off fireworks inside, I guess. 3's pretty good for this area. 3 people getting rushed to the hospital. Not too bad. Not too shabby at all. I would say that's
on Saturday, actually, we went to a gathering. The boyfriend is involved in a group called FPAG, which stands for Firework Pyrotechnics Art Guild.
Okay.
And it's a group of people. I would have never even known that this existed, but they build their own fireworks. Like, they look at fireworks or pyrotechnics as like, it's a guild, it's a craft. And so kind of the godfather of this group, the one who started it like 30 years ago, he's constantly going to like Spain, and I guess Malta is really big with their own kind of style of fireworks, which I saw, which look nothing like the fireworks we have here. It's super cool. But he makes these. He has 4 sheds, one of which he told me had like several tons of like explosive chemicals. And he made his own fireworks show. And it's not like a little sparkler. I mean, we are talking, you could see this at like a baseball game and be happy. Like, it was pretty intense. And he had it just for like the 30 people that showed up his house for, July 5th.
Yeah.
But very cool stuff. I was very impressed. And it's rare that I see my boyfriend impressed by anyone. He's like, he's known this guy for over 20 years, I think. But, the boyfriend is rarely like, this guy sucks, this guy's stupid. But he is like, this guy knows his ish. He's amazing. And it really was like incredible what he was putting together in terms of like, the time it takes to go up, where it's going to explode, how many stars you're going to see, the colors, and they go from like green to blue to red to purple. Like, he crafted this whole show that lasted like 20 minutes. Like, it was, I have a new appreciation for building fireworks. And, I just thought you like take a bunch of things, put it in a tube, like close it up and explode it. But it's like, there's so much more to it. So really impressive stuff. Yeah.
But I will say, proud of Tampa Bay, only 3 people needing trauma alerts in the area. Happy 4th of July. Well, I guess it's not 4th of July anymore, but we made it. And, let's see if we can double that number, 6 next year. That's what I'm looking for, some real damage. We're going to say goodbye to Radio St. Pete and our podcast listeners. Stay tuned if you're watching live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. We do this at willsyoutube.com. It's live. We got comments going. We do all that type of stuff. So maybe join us next week, 6 p.m., willsyoutube.com. You're gonna miss a story about the rapper who did blow his fingers off.
Will, real quick, I gotta go tinkle again.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. That's all right. Go ahead. So you're gonna be missing that, and you don't want to do that. You want to hang out with Anna and I while she pees. Oh my God, the bees on her end. The bees are insane right now. I can't believe she's in that house. But all right, we're gonna say goodbye to podcast listeners. Thank you. Talk to you later. Goodbye. All right, we're back. So there was this one dude, though, in New York. This is from the New York Post. He just blew his hand off. It's not funny, but there is one devastating story every year with somebody with fireworks that really does it. A few years ago was Tampa Bay Buccaneer player Jason Pierre-Paul blew his whole hand off. But this dude, what's his name? 4 Extra. Lost 2 fingers in a gruesome fireworks mishap after joking about blowing somebody up. Infamous last words, they say. He's also the host of the podcast, the No Jumper podcast YouTube show. So this dude, 4 Extra is his name. He has 2 fewer fingers. I tried to find here he is here. He's got these like homemade bombs type of thing. Are you back, Anna?
Yes, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was just looking at this. Did you hear about this guy 4 Extra just blew his hand off?
I saw it in the prep, but beyond that, no, I didn't hear that. He blew his whole hand off?
He blew 2 fingers off his hand.
2 fingers, yeah.
He was posting some things online where he was using some very inappropriate language, so I won't play it. But he threatened to blow some ends up.
Oh, dear. Can't be doing that.
So he's going to throw these at you and ended up blowing off his own hand. So that's this year's big one. Like I was saying, every year, like somebody really hurts themselves with fireworks, someone of note, and this year it's 4 Extra. That's too bad. So nobody, your guy didn't blow anybody up. He's very professional.
No, actually, I'm surprised with all the people at the firework group. Most of them all have, all their fingers, despite 30 plus years of making and blowing a fire. Actually, I lied to you. One guy did have a mishap, and he came in. He got like 2nd-degree burns like several months ago, and so he came in with like a glove and some sort of compression sock. So I was surprised he showed up.
On the day, what happened? What was the damage?
Oh, he was mixing things he shouldn't have been mixing. This was months ago. It had nothing to do with July 4th, but he was like in his shed and he mixed some chemicals that I feel like it was kind of like a rookie move, and the guy's not a rookie, so It exploded. He had to go to the hospital. Thankfully, his face was okay. It was just like on his hand and leg. And his wife was very, very, very mad. So, as you can expect.
It's interesting that there is kind of that underground amateur firework people, because it is chemistry, right?
It is, yeah.
You know what you can and can't put together, and what does what, and it's weird that people even. It's a very unique hobby to have. Let's just say, like, how do you even figure that out? Does somebody teach you? Do you just?
Yeah, of course, someone teaches you.
Okay.
But it's one of those things of what I learned from the accident is that like he should have known better, because he's been doing fireworks for quite some time. But yeah, I mean, obviously initially there was a lot of trial and error, but it's a guild, it's a craft, so people teach each other, you know, what to do, what not to do, like you said. So
yeah.
Anyways.
That's cool. Well, you know, I'm glad everybody made it through. I didn't have any of
Yes.
these. I did look right into the sparkler at one point, and it did kind of blind me for 1 second. Other than that, good to go.
Good.
No issues. I'm sticking with sparklers and snakes from here on out. I'm old now.
Yeah.
It's just cool. So I think, Anna, you're obviously interested in this story. We've talked about it many times. It's been out there. A fella named Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know if you've heard of him. I'm sure you have.
Rings a bell.
Obviously, the new administration, one of Donald Trump's big things was that he was going to release this. You know, actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if he said for sure that it was going to be released. I saw some podcast with him where somebody asked him about it, and he was like, yeah, it should probably be out there, was kind of what I got from it. He's, you know, the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi said it was on her desk, and she was getting ready to release this list. They held this publicity stunt where they had a lot of like right-wing YouTube personalities come to the White House. They gave them a binder, and it was just a heavily redacted mess, things that were already kind of out there. So then there was pressure on Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice to release this list. Well, Anna, I think you'll be happy to know that this list does not exist. The Department of Justice and the FBI have concluded that it's not real. It's not a thing, and that Jeffrey Epstein did, in fact, commit suicide in the jail cell. They released a video of just some weird security camera video with a minute missing from the video, according to the timestamp. Nobody entered, nobody left. We didn't see his body coming out afterwards either. It was just like just a stupid security cam video. And I guess they said they don't have it because it's been deleted or something. This is just totally predictable, right?
Well, the mistake they made is that she said that she had the list, or she had the tapes. Remember, she's like, I have thousands of hours of footage. And people were like, well, maybe you should watch the tapes and see who's in them raping the children. So she made that mistake that she had said that she had already come across it. Now, what would have been better if they're trying to conceal stuff is to go, look, we're not saying there wasn't a list. We're just saying there's no evidence of such. This is exactly what Dan Bongino did a few months ago when he was pushed on the suicide thing. And he said, look, like, we have no other evidence to suggest it was anything else. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm just saying this is what I've seen. This is what's in the memos or not in the memos. So, I mean, that's the problem, is that they had said that they like had it in hand. They were combing through it and then go, nope. I do think I've been saying this for maybe years, that I do think Donald Trump is implicated in these documents, if they even exist. That's not to say that there wasn't a client list. I'm just saying either memos have been destroyed, maybe they were never created. I've been reading a lot about how intelligence works. Oftentimes these memos, at least how the CIA does it, are written in code so that the only people that really understand what's being said in the memo are the people who created it. So again, it's not like evidence has never been destroyed when it comes to intelligence, right? Yeah. I mean, if we can think back to 2007, I believe, I think it was, I don't know if it was the CIA director or the deputy director, someone in the CIA was instructed by a higher up to get rid of evidence suggesting that America was torturing individuals at Guantanamo Bay. Like, just kill the evidence, destroy the tapes, what have you. And she came out and admitted that. So clearly people destroy evidence. It's not like everything is sitting in a locked box waiting for the next generation to reveal it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think they also ran into a problem. Like, is it possible that this list doesn't exist? Yeah. I mean, sure. Let's say yes.
Doesn't exist right now, meaning it was destroyed or never properly filed. What, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. But I think that it probably, I'm just saying, I think it does exist, but is it possible that it doesn't? Okay, sure. Mm-hmm. And also the problem that they ran into was the Kash Patel, the head of the FBI now, was going on podcasts before, he was confirmed in this role, talking about the list and how it does exist and how it needs to be released. And Dan Bongino did a radio show for many years and covered it almost daily about how this needs to come out, and clearly it exists. And I mean, I think that if you have any sort of common sense, you go, it does exist. Ghislaine Maxwell, his partner, is doing 20 years in prison for trafficking.
For nothing, because why would she? There's no client list.
Cut her loose because that's a big kind of
like
plot
bump.
twist, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the list doesn't exist, who were they going to? Who were these women or girls, going to for sex trafficking? I mean, it's just such a bold-faced lie at this point. We know it exists. We also know that there's like this underworld of or overworld of kind of elites in the country and probably the world that don't have to abide by United States law or world law, that are just too powerful to be held accountable. And I think that was probably the case. I think that maybe they had intentions to release it, but they just got shown like their parents' house and said it would be a shame if this got blown up. Just threat. That's what I think happened here. I don't know. Like I said, it is possible that maybe it doesn't exist, but just no way.
What I'm saying is, like, there was evidence and they destroyed evidence and now it doesn't exist, which technically isn't a lie if that is the case. The problem is, I think, is what is more likely is that obviously there is evidence. There are flight records. We know the flight logs of the Lolita Express. Like you said, why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison if she didn't have any client lists and she wasn't trafficking? Well, she was tracking these girls for who? Nobody? So that doesn't obviously make any sense. I think they probably toyed around of what things they could have done. Do we reveal maybe a redacted list? Well, guess what? Then people are going to want to... People who then get blown up or got their spot blown up are going to start outing other people that should have been included in the list that weren't. You know what I mean? Like, what is Trump going to do? Like, just say it was, Alan Dershowitz and Bill Clinton, and then there's tons of pictures of him with Epstein. Not saying that he was involved, but here's the thing. You and I think you listened to a bunch of the Whitney Webb podcasts.
Yeah, I've heard a lot
with
of her.
Tim Dillon. She was also on the PBE podcast. Mm-hmm. But she talks about the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell and Ivana Trump, Ivanka's mother, would go gallivanting around New York City at middle schools trying to recruit girls for a modeling agency. And this was on the Tim Dillon podcast like several years ago. He was just like, who? Like, he's like, no, Ivana Trump, Trump's first wife, and Ghislaine Maxwell were friends, and they would go gallivanting around and she had spoken to Maria. I believe it was Maria Farmer, one of the Epstein victims, and she was like in the back seat of the car. Again, can we believe her? I don't know, but that's what she said, is that she was riding around with Ghislaine Maxwell and Ivana Trump, like trying to recruit girls at middle schools. And apparently they were looking for girls with I think they were looking for white girls. I think that's what they said. And girls with good grades. Like they wanted smart girls, which is strange because you think girls with good grades probably have like good parents, and that would be harder to bamboozle versus someone who doesn't have strong family structure at home. So just weird stuff, but I remember hearing that on several occasions, and I would suggest if anyone is interested in Epstein anything, go check out Whitney Webb, because she's just one of the most thorough journalists I've ever come across. So
yeah, she's really good. Back in 2019, the Daily Beast, not really like a right-wing magazine or outlet by any means. This happens to be from the Daily Wire, but it talks about the story, the report that the
Attorney General.
Yeah, was he the Attorney General? I think he was just a prosecutor. This guy, Acosta, Alexander Acosta, U.S. Attorney in Miami. He was the one that prosecuted Epstein for his, crimes. Initially, I guess the first go around where he got kind of like this sweetheart deal, where he went to jail on Saturdays or something for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
it wasn't that much. But the Alex Acosta said that just right here in the headline that he was told. I would like to know who told him this, though. Was it the president at that time? That was Obama at that point. But Acosta was told by somebody that Jeffrey Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. So it gave him this kind of sweet deal and moved on.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that he was working in some capacity for intelligence. American, Mossad.
And Bondi denied that, though, today, too. Said that, she did the lawyer thing. I haven't seen any evidence of that. I'm happy to look into it, she said. But I haven't seen any evidence that.
It's not an answer the American people want to hear, that's for sure. And it's not because Epstein... Sorry, go ahead.
It's just because we all know what the deal was here. We all know, there's just powerful people on this list that can't be held accountable because it would shake things up, whether it's, people in Hollywood or maybe people that we don't know their names, but they're just very powerful, perhaps maybe in some sort of government bureaucracy or something above a government bureaucracy. These people just can't be held accountable.
I also think that anybody who's associated with Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm not trying to paint the guy as a good figure or anything like that, but what I'm saying is that a lot of people were connected to him because he did a lot of philanthropy, which was obviously a cover for what he was really up to. But he donated a lot of money to Harvard, I think Harvard Medical. He was interested in people's research, and he could have also just genuinely been interested in it. But he was known as just a financier. If I remember Eric Weinstein talking about it, if you wanted money, grants, or not grants, but if you wanted money for your research, Epstein was the guy to do it. And so you could say, well, Eric Weinstein was a client. You know what I mean? So anybody who's attached to him is somehow this nefarious character, which is not the case. There were a lot of people that were attached to him that had no idea what was going on, but just kind of running in the same circles because he was financing all of this research and development. So who knows? But most likely it's what exactly what you said, that it would take down a lot of it would shake society to its core when you learn what happened, what really happened. So
I mean, that's the thing. It's just, we all know what's happening. We know there's demons that are in control and above the U.S. presidency, just in this, shadow type of, there's some sort of shadow organization. I think everybody's kind of on board with that. That's not accountable to U.S. laws or the government or the federal government.
Any laws.
Any laws. Yeah.
Any laws.
I don't know what that means exactly, but we know that there's something. We can just feel it in the ether. I think every citizen out there at this point, just because we all have it. Well, not everybody, a lot of people don't, but many of us have an internet connection and a phone.
Yeah.
Kind of like see with our own eyes these little droplets that get leaked out, and we just know.
I don't know why I am okay with that. Like, people get really upset, as they should, that they're like, no one is above the law. But I just know that that's just the natural order of things. That there are hierarchies, and even if you try to, create a system of governance where you go to court and everything is very official and there's laws on the books and statutes and statute 14, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, some people are and always will be above the law.
Sure.
And I don't know why. I feel like it's just the natural order of things. And maybe it's like, maybe one day I can be too. Maybe it's one of those hopeful things. Maybe it's the American dream. It is the American dream 2.0 to create not only a lot of money, not only to gather clout, but to create generational wealth, a legacy, and a dynasty, right? The Bush dynasty, the Kennedy dynasty, the Trump perhaps dynasty, the Clinton maybe dynasty, I don't know. But these people are they live in the clouds, they live above the law. And that, to me, is the new American dream.
Yeah. Well, there's something to be said for that, I suppose. It makes me feel like that.
Thanks, Brian, from Philly.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I appreciate that a lot. Super chat. Very nice. It makes me feel like we're in hell. And that
no.
kind of in control of us, which kind of makes me feel, because it doesn't seem like they're very nice people that are kind of these powerful people. It seems like they do a lot of really bad, evil, I would say, things, and I don't really like that. Perhaps the meek have inherited the earth already, and that we are kind of left behind here. I know you're not a religious person or anything,
no,
but I think you get what I mean, at least in speaking artfully.
Yeah, I understand. I don't know why I'm so just okay with it. It's just there's always been monarchs. There's always been dictators. It's just and even though we don't have those things, there are other loopholes. There are other ways that people can form syndicates. You know what it is? I love secret societies. And even though it's maybe not an official Skull and Bones, it's kind of maybe it's the bureaucracy. Maybe it's just we can't take down Clinton, Trump, all these people, and maybe some other powerful leaders of other countries as well, because the world will descend into a chaos that we've never known before.
Yeah,
I honestly think it's got to do something with Trump. The fact that even Ivana Trump was rolling around with Ghislaine Maxwell recruiting for girls. I mean, this is when I believe she was married to Trump. I mean, that's not good.
Let me tell you why I don't think it has much to do with Trump.
All right.
Is it? Yeah, I think he's been. I mean, certainly there's pictures with him and Epstein. Now, just because you have a picture taken or he's at a party, these people run in the same crowds. You're going to run into people. You're going to get your picture snapped. It doesn't mean.
Of course. No, I'm not suggesting that at all.
I mean, Clinton was in there. A lot of people were. But having, he was president the first time, 2016, 2020. Biden comes in. You don't think that they would have leaked something about Trump being in the Epstein file? They were pulling out everything they possibly could. Russia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whatever. That was the biggest ones. The January, anything they could throw at him, they were. He's a convicted felon for, I don't even remember for what, in Georgia. What did he do?
Voter obstruction or something. Okay. I think it's all a blur. I completely agree with you, and I would say just because you have a picture with someone, this is what the conspiracy theorists do, and it's so obnoxious. I heard Sam Tripoli, who I usually like don't mind, being like, and guess who drove him to the airport? Bill Clinton. Like that somehow listen, I'm not a fan of Bill Clinton, but just like these like loose connections, I'm like, this isn't evidence. This is not evidence. This is not how you put together like a thoughtful argument for something. But anyways, I would say that, yes, of course, just because you have a picture with someone doesn't mean anything. I would say that probably more likely than not, Trump knew what was going on and just didn't do anything about it until it started to affect his business. Which I think
what can you do? What can you do about that? I mean,
like report him to the feds. He is a fed. Like I don't know what people are expecting this man to do.
Yeah.
But also, like you said, when you're like, well, why didn't they just release it? Obviously, that would have been great for their cause. I think it's just because if you release him, like you can't just release him because there's a lot of names on that list. And some of them are your guys too, you know? And so I think that that's where they ran into trouble. If that is the case, they're like, all right, well, if we leak this about Trump, then Obama's getting leaked and Biden's getting leaked and Gavin Newsom, like who knows, whoever else, you know, Bill Clinton, obviously. It is crazy how, you know, they always say that Ronald Reagan was the Teflon president, like nothing stuck to him. Boy, like if you have a good economy, besides Trump, I guess, like you can get away with anything. You can get away with anything. Boy, oh boy. A few months ago, maybe even a year ago, I got really into the Monica Lewinsky case. I think I've talked about this. I didn't really know too much about it. I was a kid when it happened, and I was kind of caught up in politics of last year and the campaign. I'm like, hold on a second. Let me revisit this. That was so fucking scandalous. That was so scandalous, and he got impeached, made it through, and people remember him as a great president. He's associated with the biggest pedophile of all time, still a popular president of like recent memory because the economy was good. Like no one cares, again, unless you're Trump, which something happened, the glitch in the matrix. But other than that, if money is flowing and people are buying homes, no one cares if you touch kids or that you fucked some secretary in your office. Like, doesn't matter, intern, whatever. So
yeah, I don't know, it's really frustrating. I mean, we all know what the deal is. I feel like I'm repeating myself. You know, the JFK files came out too, and there was just didn't seem to really be anything in there, like all these things that were kind of these American secrets, you know, that wasn't Biden going to release those files too, and then he decided to keep them secret again? I don't know. And then they got released, and it's like there's nothing in there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and I'm still reading this book, but it talks a lot about the JFK assassination. And they did a lot of research on like Allen Dulles and J. Edgar Hoover, both heads of either, you know, the CIA and FBI respectively during that time. The way they're writing memos were like in code. Many things were destroyed. Like these like the evidence doesn't exist. It's not just saying that there wasn't shenanigans. Clearly there were. It's just there is no evidence. And I feel like, listen, even Bush was implicated, it seems. Bush 1 knew about some stuff going on, made really strange phone calls to the FBI minutes after Kennedy was assassinated and tried to pin it on somebody else to have like a record that he was not in Dallas at the time, even though he had just left Dallas that morning. Like all sorts of spy trade tricks. You know what I mean? And then guess who became the head of the director of the CIA like a decade later? George H.W. Bush. You think he didn't go in there and start? It's insane. Like it doesn't exist. I don't think it exists.
Yeah. Well, it's stupid to write down your crimes, right? I mean, you should wouldn't want to do that. I know there's files that perhaps are kept, but I don't know. I agree. I think the obvious conclusion here was that prosecutor, the Alex Acosta guy, was right. That he's intelligence. He was just protected. He was doing deals with either our government or the Israeli government or something. And you're not going to know about it because it's protected, it's secret, and it's intelligence source.
Yeah.
You got to keep it under wraps. I don't know why still, but I know why still, because it's the people who are involved in it.
Yeah, could you imagine, like you just said, it's so funny you said that, like some guy at the CIA was like, recruited Lee Harvey Oswald today. Like, I decided to teach him, I got him a job at the Texas School Book Depository last week. He's going to kill the president on, November 22nd. Da, 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 da. Like, obviously that's not written down. There's no smoking gun.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Lee Harvey Oswald was killed, less than 24 hours after he killed Kennedy?
Yeah. We
By
all
Jack
know
Ruby?
Yeah, we all know the deal with that too. We know what happened with that. Whether it was, Kennedy's vice president or some powerful people that are perhaps not answerable to the U.S. government decided that Kennedy had to go.
It was all of them.
Yeah.
Kennedy was fucking with the money. Mm-hmm. Okay, there was like a big oil intelligence nexus, especially headed in Dallas. They were not big fans of him there, and he was messing with the money. He was saying like, they were getting these crazy tax breaks, and he just started saying like, you can't do that. Kennedy was also fucking a lot of their wives. A lot of them had personal grievances against him because he was just like romancing wives and girlfriends of the rich and powerful, which they didn't really appreciate. So some had personal grievances. And you also have to understand that the CIA at this time, they were happy to use assassination as a tool in their toolkit when it came to other countries. So clearly that was like something that they were more than happy to use against someone who they had real grievances with at home.
Yeah. Sorry, playing with the layout.
It's all good.
Yeah. No, you're right. But even though we'll never know, we do know. We know what the deal is, and I think unfortunately there's not much that we can really do about it. So you're kind of have the right mindset, I think, which is just be okay with it. It kind of sounds like a defeatist attitude. I'm back and forth on it because it's not right. We shouldn't be living this way. And it's probably only going to get worse, not better. But maybe we'll get better. I don't know. I think the best way is to just be like, I can't do anything about this. So, we could talk about it. We can curse those people, whoever they are, and hope that God or whoever, the universe, punishes them.
Mm-hmm.
But really, that's our only course of action.
Yeah. Listen, I love secrets. I would love to be in the know with some of this stuff when it comes to, know for sure when it comes to Kennedy or even 9/11 or Epstein.
Yeah.
It would be cool to be in the know, but we're just not. And you got to just be okay with that and just kind of see the evidence as it lays out and go. And kind of, unfortunately, it's kind of a pick your own conclusion, draw your own, pick your own adventure,
Yep. Sure enough, but it all leads to the same place. We all know we'll never know what we know.
Yeah.
That might be the title of this episode.
Yeah.
Lots of comments today. Thanks, guys. Kevin, Will got a couple mentions on the bone recently. Oh, good. I heard Mike O's show last week. He really gave me a good Roger. It was very upsetting. Hopefully it was more positive than that. What, Kevin? Comment. I'll see if I can find it on the way out here. Mike from St. Pete's here. My parents fought every single night, and they never divorced. It was hell. Well, that's good.
No, it's not.
I don't know.
Just live in misery.
Hey, Anna and Will. Hey,
What's
man.
up?
Anna, I think this is a question for you. Any pumpkin cannons this year at your 4th of July?
Pumpkin cannons? Did I have those last year? Why am I drawing a blank? I don't know.
Karen W. Hey, everyone.
What's up, Karen?
Let's see what else we got here. Oh, is it Joe's birthday tomorrow? The former watcher of this show.
Thank you for giving me a heads up on that. Tomorrow is the 10th. It's also Drew Garabo's birthday tomorrow. Isn't it weird that I know that? That I
it
remember
is
that?
weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. Well, happy birthday, Joe, wherever you are. Wherever you are. Happy birthday, buddy. Let's see what else. Brian from Philly. Thanks again, Brian. Very
Brian,
generous.
thank you so much. I hope you had a wonderful 4th.
Nice. Very good. Mike says that Tim Pool thinks that Biden deleted everything. He said the Biden administration.
Oh,
meaning
I was going to say Biden.
Jeffrey Epstein stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I guess that's it. Well, I'll be interested. Hopefully, some of the things were positive that were on the bone this week. The Mike O thing, I had to text him because that was crazy. He really tried. You could go back if you want to listen. It's on Spotify. It was a show from the I don't know, what was it?
26? 28.
Yeah, 628. Boy, he really bashed me. But,
yeah.
Fortunate. Very
Not
sad.
very nice, Mr. Myko.
Not nice. Also ill-informed as well, but it's okay. That happens. Anything else, Anna?
That is all, my friend. I am starving, so I'm going to let you go.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have
Goodbye.
a great night, everyone. Thank you for listening. Bye, Will. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Yeah, goodbye, everybody. Remember, subscribe to the Substack, hmbradio.substack.com. I'm going to put this podcast up, audio only, over there now. You can subscribe for free. Get the free podcast early if you subscribe over there. And hopefully you'll be back with us this Wednesday, 6 p.m. This coming Wednesday next week. We'll be back live, and we look forward to that. So take care. And Jeffrey Epstein, wherever you are, we hope to see you soon. I don't know.